Our solution that we are going to propose to you today is called the Revenue Tornado. The way that we structure the system is based on all of our previous experiences with different clients, that we standardize a process that we know that works for almost every type of company. So the first process in the implementation of that Revenue Tornado system is mapping your whole TAM. If you are the CMO of a company and you don't have the correct mapping of your TAM, probably you're missing the mark, targeting leads that are not qualified, running ads on demographics, but not to the correct leads, and probably delivering the wrong leads to the sales team. So that's the first step that you should do, and it takes time to actually realize which type of leads you should aim for. But I have a good news for you, that is, probably if you're using a CRM, you can extract all the leads that have booked a meeting with you, all the leads that have closed a deal with you, and make an insight report to actually capture the qualification criteria for the best leads possible for your system. Based on that, you can actually map the TAM. And once you have the TAM of accounts or companies, you can find their decision makers. And that's also important, because if you're targeting leads that are not the decision makers, even if they are champions, the sales team won't be happy addressing people that are not taking the lead. So you should map the decision makers. And once you map them all together, we're going to start capturing signals related to those leads and tier them up based on signals, tier them up based on different criteria that might be customized to your company. So for example, if a lead is working for a company that have the tech stack that you need to actually make a sale, that is in the region that you want to pursue, has the revenue range that you are expecting to aim for, that would be a qualified account. And if you find a decision maker like the CMO of that account, that's a qualified decision maker. But once you have the list of all the decision makers, you can actually track back how many of them have reacted to your content, how many of them have visited your website, how many of them have engaged with your competitors, how many of them have published a job post recently, have an expansion plan published recently. And there are many, many triggers or signals that you can capture all together and use them to understand the situation of the different leads. Once you have it, you can route them to different campaigns, and each campaigns have a different goal. We're going to go over it as well. And then you can connect it to the CRM to maintain everything in a centralized source of truth. And this is how it looks like when it's working. Every day, you're going to be capturing new signals. So your team will see this every morning, every time that they're sitting on their sequence tool, on their LinkedIn inbox, they will receive an alert, depending if they're using Outreach, Get Sales, HeyReach, whatever tool they're using to sequence. If a lead is ready to engage and it says ready, you should send them an alert right away to reach out to them and convert them. If they are engaged, let's say that they're in the market, but they haven't shown you any brand awareness recognition yet, you should engage with them also, but the angle is different. For the first one, they already know you. So if you're talking about your solution, you don't need to go really deep into explaining who you are and what you're calling, because they know you. But in the other case, you should let them know who you are, and you should provide them value to actually make them trust you. Regarding the last step of the process is integrating everything back to the CRM. And we need to use a CRM to actually capture the leads that are aware of your brand, the leads that you are prospecting right now, because every time you want to know what is the current condition of a lead, you should have like a clear path, a clear database that you can check that out. And that source of truth is your CRM. So you need to connect it back from Clay to the CRM, from the sequencer to the CRM. So you have the clear picture inside the CRM. You can have full attribution as well. You can analyze then later which type of campaign works better, if you need to change the parameters in terms of qualification, in terms of triggers, signals, and so on. So as a general overview, we can say that probably implementing a system like this one will be way more effective than hiring someone to do it for you, because once you implement the system will stay in the company and you can improve the system over time, compared to having someone running campaigns for you manually, or even semi-automated campaigns that you need to ramp up. You need to let them know who you're targeting, how to create a copy. Once you create the system can create copies for you and can scale and learn from the approaches and keep growing. So that's something that we are seeing over time. That is, AI is getting better and better. And nowadays you can actually use AI to analyze the impact of your campaigns and make the improvements promptly. So here's where we started. Like a few years ago, we were executing different campaigns. We were struggling to find leads from Apollo, from Sales Navigator, finding their emails, validating their emails through different tools, and reaching contact one by one. We actually have one resource, one person qualifying the leads that we get from Apollo one by one manually. And it took like a lot of time to actually deploy a campaign. And once we deploy the campaign, we run it for a month. And the next month, we didn't have more leads to add it to the campaign. So we need to go back again and find more leads and so on. If you're struggling with the same issue that we did in the past few years, you know how it feels. It feels like really frustrating. You cannot catch up with everything and it takes you a lot of time. And the results that you're getting weren't good enough. Like in our case, we're getting 20 to 25 connection rate, a certain rate, 5 to 15% in LinkedIn reply rate, 2 to 4 cold email reply rate. And it was like a low or average leads to meeting rate. But after a while, we start implementing the system to capture signals. And the main goal of capturing signals as well is to have a system that can feed you more leads over and over again. And if you also add to that system an automated re-engagement process to reprocess leads that you reach out to them, but they didn't engage, or they did engage, but they weren't ready to buy yet, you can create a system that actually runs evergreen, capturing all your time, sending them re-engagement process messages. So after a while, you will increase the brand awareness over the whole time, and you will have control over how many of those qualified leads are actually aware of you and your company. So that reduces the list building time to actually zero. You don't need to invest any more time into list building. And that's a relief. That's the first relief that you're going to get it. But then after running some signals, you will notice which type of signals are better to fully understand the situation of a lead. If it is showing you more buying intent, one signal over the other, you can prioritize those leads over the other ones. If you have a tiering system, you can prioritize leads and have shown you better conversion rates over time, and you will increase the lead quality over time. So it's not only that you have an evergreen system now, it also increases the results because you have better leads. And if you also combine this with a brand awareness system, like a newsletter, posting on LinkedIn, commenting on their posts, you will notice that more leads will reply you back. So that will increase the overall result, and you're going to start having better results as we did. Like you can increase the conversion rate of connection requests on LinkedIn by 2x, the reply rate as well, not only on LinkedIn, by cold email as well. We actually have some campaigns that run for warm leads that have over 45% reply rate. That's crazy for cold leads, of course. But if you're targeting people that know you with an offer that they want, you can have like better conversion rates. All right, so this is a clay table that we have shown you in other workshops as well, but this is really powerful and we want to show you how it works because this is something that you can build your own. Of course, we can also help you to deploy something like this, but it's a system, it's not a workflow. Just wanted to highlight that because most of the cases, if you are starting using clay, probably you won't be able to deploy a whole system at once. But once you start deploying different workflows, you can integrate all together into a system. So as you're going to see here, we have more than 49,000 leads. Actually, we have 2 tables that have the same process. And each record is a new lead that we qualified before. We capture those leads based on different processes. Like we use the find companies, find leads in Clay. We also use Apollo. We have used Sales Navigator. And we have used many tools to capture those leads and qualify them. Once we qualify them, that in order to do that, we use NAN to run every time the same qualification process. So we have a centralized qualification process that grabs the lead based on a webhook on NAN, check out if the lead was already qualified before, so we don't enrich it twice. If it was already qualified, we check how recently we qualified them because people change jobs. And once we have the data of a new lead, we qualify it from geographic location, job title, company size, and we have a fallback. We use as a fallback an AI agent to actually qualify and assign them a correct tier. So every time we capture a new lead, we qualify them, we centralize the qualification here. And if we want to know if a lead was already qualified, we just need to send them the LinkedIn URL to re-qualify or to check out the tier. Once the leads are qualified, we send out those leads to this table. So we have like the full time in here, we monitor the full time, and we're checking against different tables to know how many of them have visited our website, how many of them have been following Clay. Each one of these lookups that is checking against another table is checking against actually a different workflow. So this is what I mean by this is a system, not a workflow. It's that we're combining different workflows in this table. And you can see here, for example, this is one of the workflows that is capturing LinkedIn reactions. So we're tracking our post, capture people that reacted to our post, and then we're sending those leads into this table, and we run this HTTP API call. We send it to this NAM workflow. It qualifies those leads. For example, those leads are unqualified, but these ones are qualified. And if they're qualified, we send them to that other table, and we run that for all the different sources that we have. We check against the blacklist as well. We send it to a campaign if that's a qualified lead as well. But in this case, I wanted to show you how then we can use the same ID of the lead that is a LinkedIn URL to check if they are in that other table. So in this case, we run a lookup to check if the same LinkedIn URL is on that other table. And if they are here, we tag them accordingly. So for example, we create a system that tags the lead based on the engagement that we capture. And based on that, we can send it to different types of campaigns. So it's an easy process once you nail it, because once you nail the tagging system, you can create a run condition to send it to different campaigns based on the tag that they have. If they are following you, if they're connected with you, of course, you don't want to reach out to them with a cold message because they already know who you are. But if they are not aware of who you are, you can actually send them into a nurturing sequence or a workflow that send them a cold outreach message to let them know who you are. So once you have them all together, you can qualify the leads, you can enrich their data, you can send the data back to the CRM. In this case, we store the leads also in Supabase. So that's another database provider that overcomes the issue of having 50,000 limits in Clay. And then you can send it to different type of campaigns. This is how the system works. This is how we are driving results for our company as well. And probably you can do it for your own as well. So if you want us to help you understand how you can deploy the system, how you can start getting the results that we show you, how you can start decreasing the time that you are spending on prospecting or getting leads into your funnel, I'll be happy to jump on a call with you and help you understand the impact that the system can have. So let me drop here a link for you. You can also go to our website, but this is the link if you want to book a call with us and receive our help into understanding what are the best approach possible for your company, how you can qualify leads, how you can tier them up, and so on.